Welcome again. My name is Yashraj. I manage the India community at Progate. And welcome to this Learning Jam. It's in hands-on with HTML, CSS, JavaScript. And as a speaker, we have Neha. She's founder of JSLovers. It's a very active community of JavaScript enthusiasts in many, started from Delhi and now it has expanded to different cities. Maybe Neha can explain more on that. Yeah, so a little bit about me. I manage the India community. I think all of you must have received emails from me. And what is Learning Jam? If anyone has not attended any Learning Jam before, it's a completely hands-on online activity. It's not an event or it's not a webinar. So Learning Jam is where you earn your spot. It's not open for everyone. You earn your spot by completing first lesson of that particular technology. So for example, in today's Learning Jam, all of you have completed the first lesson of JavaScript. So, and many of you might have completed even more lessons. So thumbs up for that. And all of us, we come together and Neha will be covering a few concepts and she will be helping you build your own projects. I think, Neha, it would be great if you can take it over from here.
Sure. Yes. Thank you so much for the introduction and thank you so much for this opportunity again to do Learning Jam. So folks who, so this is my second Learning Jam with Progate. The first one was when this lockdown was not there, COVID was not there. And at that time we did the SAS Learning Jam in Bangalore. And now this is the second which we are doing in lockdown online. So yep, anyhow. So I am sharing my screen and just give me a minute.
So Neha, while you're doing that, I just wanted to let everyone know. So this is a beginner-friendly space. So in case you already have some experience, please be patient because we are going from the absolute beginner mindset here, and we all are trying to learn something new. So even if you have some experience with JavaScript or web development, there will be definitely something new which you will learn today. So be patient there, and feel free to help your fellow participants as I mentioned.
So hi everyone. Thank you very much for showing your interest in this Learning Jam. As Yash already mentioned that congrats to everyone who is here. Around 42 folks are here. Everyone earned this spot by finishing your first that fundamentals of the web. And why we both Yash and I am actually saying congrats. The reason is I'm pretty sure there were like many people who registered for it or did RSVP. But you 42 people actually took one more step. You went ahead and learned about the web at the Progate website and then you came here. Then, sorry, not came here, but you got that your spot. So congrats for that. And these small steps actually make everyone, I don't know the correct word, but the thing is that these small steps actually make people, stand apart from the crowd. So congrats to that. Yash already gave my introduction, but just to repeat, my name is Neha Sharma. I'm working as UI manager. And about JSLovers, JSLovers is a community. It's a non-profit community. We are doing a lot of meetups. Before COVID, we used to do offline meetups. Now we are doing online meetups back to back. If you want to know about meetups, if you want to know about meetups of JSLovers, you can just go on the meetup.com/JSLovers and you will get all the information there. And I am a big advocate of accessibility. If you doesn't know accessibility in this throughout session, I will keep telling you what is the best good accessibility and what is the bad accessibility. So yeah, you can follow me on Twitter, LinkedIn, and we have a JSLovers Discord. So if you are looking for some help or you just want to connect to the fellow developers, so please join that. This page is going to be available on GitHub. So everything you will get after this session. As I mentioned you, this is my second Learning Jam with Progate. The first one I did was SAS Learning Jam. If you are looking for that, I have provided the link of that also. Now moving to what to expect in this session. Already Yash mentioned that we are going to have hands-on And I will assume that everyone is new in HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Having said that, I'm not going to tell you the definition of the tags, properties, or JavaScript, but what we are going to try here today is we are going to build something. And while building that module, while building that feature, we will try to learn the concepts. So this is what I feel that you need. If you want to learn, you need to get your hands dirty, and the best way is to just build something. That's what we are going to do. Now, what all we are going to do? We are going to learn about HTML5. We are going to learn about how to create the HTML pages.
Neha, please unmute yourself. Okay.
Okay. So we are going to learn HTML5. We are going to build HTML page. We are going to style it by using CSS3, and then we will move to JavaScript. In JavaScript, we are going to learn a lot of things, but just to give you a flavor, we are going to learn how to manipulate your DOM, how to do the CSS manipulation through JavaScript, how you can do the redirection or routing of the pages, how you can do the data handling, and a lot of things which will come there. So this is what we are going to do. At the last, we are going to learn about parcel.js. What parcel.js is and why it is required, that we are going to touch at the end. Now, how to follow this session, because this is the first time, might be for you or that online we are trying to learn or do a code, hands-on code. So how you can learn? So what I have done is I have break the whole code lab into 7 to 8 small exercises, so we can go step by step. Now the second thing is everything which I am going to do, it will be available on the GitHub after the session, not right now. What you can do, you can either follow with me or you can just grab your notebook, pen, and start making the notes. Fun fact is, if you will write something on paper, there is higher chance that you will remember it. So don't be a shy, don't be a digital freak. I know this is a digital world, but sometimes it's good to be a old school. So start doing that. You can follow with me with the code. I will try to have 10 minutes maximum break so that you can code after once I am done. But I am not sure how feasible that would be. Keeping an eye on the questions coming. So we also need to check on that. If you have any issue or any question, you can drop in the chat. You can write them on your notebook or anywhere. And what you can do is you can just, once we will open floor for the questions, you can discuss me. After the session, I am not going to, vanish. You can reach me on my email ID. So feel free to relax, understand the concept, and do not rush that this is within 1.5 hours, we have to learn everything. So this is all about the logistic and how this workshop is. Okay, so what we are going to build, I'm just showing you that. So this is a fictional ice cream store. And what is going to happen is when I'm going to click on add, whichever item I'm going to pick, that will become disabled. So I won't be able to add it again. And this cart will get updated. Now, if I will click here, I can see the items I added. I can go back and I can go back to my cart details. You can see the total cost is also coming here. If I will remove it, the cost will also update it. I can go to the next, which is address. It is not beautifully styled, which is fine. And the another redirection is order. And at every state, we can go back. One more thing is, for example, if I go to cart detail and I remove it, strawberry, and I now go back to my home page, you will see that now I can again add it. So these are the features, and this is what we are going to build. This is in HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. There is no framework I have used, and I don't want to debate that why and everything. This is a learning jam, and every framework base is JavaScript. So I personally feel that before learning any framework, we should learn the fundamentals and the vanilla code. So this is what we are going to build. Okay, so let me just turn off this and let me show. So this is, if you will see that I have already break my all the steps here. So the first thing we are going to do is, whenever you get a project, you need to set up your environment. And when I say environment, I'm not saying that in your editor you need to install these tools, that tool. When I say environment, you need to go ahead and start making the folder structure, file structure, how you are going to structure. So in this case, we are going to have on the root index.html, and we are going to have resources folder. In that resources folder, we have style, script, images, all three different folders. Now it depends. You can rename resource to assets. It's your choice. Generally, it is resources or assets, so that anyone who is coming and reading your code, they can understand. If your project is not big, I have seen few folks, what they do is within resource, they just put their, on the root only, they put their style, their script, and for images, they create a new folder. But the good practice is always have different folder for all. So always have images folder, script folder, and style. Now again, coming to the naming convention, few folks prefer style, few folks prefer CSS. So again, it depends upon you what you want to do. This is my naming convention that I prefer style. Again, for script, few folks prefer JS and few folk prefer script. Same, my preference is having script rather than having JS. And one more thing can happen is, a lot of people, they like to segregate their scripts like this. So if they have external or third party or vendor, so they can make a vendor folder. So any third party script will come here, and same goes for the style. Here we don't have any third party, so that's why this folder is not relevant. I'm deleting it. But this is how you do it. It is important to have your first page as index.html. It is not an error if you will make it home.html, but generally whenever you make a website and host it somewhere, the servers look for index.html. So the preferred way is always have index.html. After that, whatever the page name you want to give, that's up to you. So this is what is the step one of setting your folder structure. I can give you a 5 minutes just to do this exercise, and then we will go to the next page to create the HTML. So your 5 minutes are starting now. Once you are done, just ping yes, and after 5 minutes we will start ahead.
So Neha, just to repeat who maybe joined just now, so they are supposed to create this folder structure on their system.
Yes, I can just put it. What I can do is, sorry, this is not here. I can, where's my readme? I haven't. Pratham, this is the step one. You need to do first. Okay, you need to first, I think, create a folder, and in that you need to create index.html at the root. The second step is this: create a resource folder, and within that you need to create 3 different folders with these names.
So you can either create this within VS Code.
Yep.
Yeah, or if you prefer, you can create it outside as well, and then just open the root folder in VS Code.
Yeah. One thing is, this is for those folks who are just starting with the web development. I have seen that there are many developers when they get the code test, machine test, or take away home code exercises, they don't follow this practice. What they do is they just create a folder and on the root they will just dump everything. Uh, don't do that. That is a bad practice. Always structure your code and the folder. Images is repeated. Okay, sorry. Thank you. Yes, Anand, this is a generic structure, but naming conventions get changed. Okay, I think most of the folks are done, so let's move ahead. I'm just saving it here. Okay, so now the next step is creating the HTML. Let me just open the README. So what we are going to do here is, in this we are going to create our index HTML file, which we have already done. We are going to start writing our HTML code. So this is my index.html. I will go line by line and I am going to talk about the tags, importance of tags, semantic tags, and the common questions which get asked during interviews. So I hope it will help you. So we are using HTML5, and this is the HTML5 is the current HTML everyone is using. Okay, so till here I haven't done anything. This is the basic HTML structure. This is common across all HTML pages. This is the minimal code you require. How to detect, Anand? HTML5 has a lot of new tags which we are going to use. The first thing is this doc type definition. So HTML5 has this small doc type definition. In HTML4 we used to have three kind of different doc types, and they were very lengthy. So the moment you see a website, just go on the view source and just look at the doc type definition. If it is just this, then this is HTML5, and if not, and there's a lengthy one which you are not able, which it's beyond understanding, then it's HTML4. This is the first rule. Okay, so coming back to this code, this is the basic HTML code you require to make your HTML pages. You can save it anywhere, just copy paste and start using it. Now the second thing is this title tag. Many people, many developers don't add title tags. Title tags are very important. Why? So whatever you are going to write, it will come here. That's why first thing. But the second thing is about accessibility. There are a lot of disabled people in the world, and they use different technologies to consume the content on the internet. And at that time, because for example, if there's a blind person, that person is not able to see this welcome to ice cream store. So how would we make that person to understand that what this is? So the technology they used to browse the website, that technology actually use this title content to repeat ice cream shop. So that's why it's very important. So now moving next. Now let's come here. This is what we are going to build. So we should know that what is happening here. So we have a logo, we have a cart. Let me refresh it. If you will see, this cart is not clickable from the starting. The moment I add it, then it becomes clickable. Okay. The next thing is we have a heading here, and then this list is coming. So now step by step, I'm going to build it. So how you should start breaking your, whenever you are getting the design, how you should start coding. First of all, do not start writing the code straightforward. Look at the designs, look at the wireframes you got. Do spend like good amount of time with that and understand that what is happening there. What is the structure? Like here, it's a header, it's a heading, and it's the list. So you need to understand that, and then you need to convert your thoughts into the code. I have seen a lot of people don't look at the design, they just straightforwardly go and start doing the code, which is not good. So the first thing I am going to do is I'm going to use section, and here I'm going to use a class wrapper. This is going to wrap my whole code, whole structure of the web page into one. Having a wrapper is a good thing. The reason is it helps you in debugging. How it is going to help you in debugging? When we will start, we will have a lot of code, then I will show you that why this is important. Now the next thing I want to have is a header. Now HTML5, so this section is a HTML5 tag, and in HTML5 we have header tag also. So because it's a header, that's why I'm going to use header tag. Now the question comes is, can't I use this? The beauty of HTML is it will not give you error, but unfortunately, this is wrong. Why this is wrong? Because in HTML5, you have a dedicated header tag. So always prefer to use that rather than this. This is not semantic code at all. So always use the tags which HTML5 has. It is going to give you semantic tags. It is going to help you in accessibility by default. It is going to take care of a lot of things. So yes, you can style anything by using CSS, but learn HTML5 tags and start using them. Now the next thing comes is, can we have multiple header tags? Yes, we can have multiple header tags. We can have multiple footer tags also. There is no such rule that you can have only one header tag or one footer tag in your HTML page. This is the most asked question and people get confused. That's why I'm mentioning it. Now what I want is, I want this image, basically my logo. So what I will do is, I will add H1. Now why H1? So we have headings in HTML5. If I will start writing, if I will make it H4, and I will just write ice cream shop. And now if I will do this is wrong. The semantic tag, these are not semantic HTML. You should always follow the order of the HTML headings. So always H1 should come first, and after that H2, H3, H4, H5, whatever you want to use. What I generally do is, I keep H1 on the top for the logo, so that now I can safely use any heading within my code. So that is why I'm using H1 here. So as of now, I'm not using image, I'm just writing ice cream shop. Now the next thing is, I want this, but by default, this is not a link. So what I can do? So what I can do is, I can use one more HTML5 tag, which is nav. Nav stands for navigation, that there is a navigation, it will take you somewhere. So this is what I can do, and I can just write here cart. That's it. I'm not running this code as of now. I'm just taking step by step. Now again the same thing. Can I use nav multiple times on the page? Yes, you can use multiple times your nav. Can we use H3 before H2 and after H1? H3 before H2? No, you cannot use H3 before H2 and after H. Yes. So if your structure is something like, if you are writing like this, H1, and then you have used H3 directly, it's fine. But if you introduce H2 now, it is a semantic issue. So you need to look at the order of your headings. Again, same thing. It will not give you error on your browser. It will not throw you error. But if you will try to validate your HTML, which a lot of folks don't do, the validator will give you the error. Second, you will get the issues in accessibility also. So yeah, so that's why this order is very important. Okay, now moving ahead. So I'm done with this header. Now this section. Now most of the folks, what they do is, they just generally come here and they will just start writing welcome to ice cream shop. Now again the problem is, if you will write like this, there would be no error, nothing. But again your sections are not separate. Basically you are not wrapping your sections. In HTML it is important to make sure that you are wrapping your section. Why? There are three reasons. The first reason is again the debugging thing, which I will show you in upcoming code exercise. Sorry, upcoming code exercise which we will do. Second, when you are writing your CSS, if your sections are wrapped, your parent class can be useful to write the CSS and scope it. Otherwise, you will end up writing a lot of CSS classes. I will show you that also in upcoming code exercise. And third thing is when you are writing the JS. So if you have a wrapper, for example, I have header here. Now, if I want to change this thing only, I can just target this and change it. But if I have to change this, I need to, put a global class here or ID here, and that could become a little tricky. As of now, this code is very small, so you can think, okay, we can put ID and we can directly access it. But when your code base is very, very big, then the problems come. So that's why it's important to wrap in your sections in div or by using section. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write here content. And in that, I will be having my heading, welcome to ice cream shop. Now the next thing is I want to make a list. There are two ways you can do it. You can just make it a div, and within div you can have this. Or the best thing is if we will go with HTML semantic tags, we can use UL, which is unordered list. Unordered list, the reason is because it will again give you the semantic way of writing the code. Now in the li, what I want is, I want an image, I want a heading. This is not my heading, and this is a CTA, add to cart. So what I will do is, you have one more, in HTML5, you have figure tag to show that you have a image, or as of now, I'm just doing this. I'm just putting it here and alt tag and like this. Now I want H2 I have already used, so I will use H3 and it would be the mango. And for the price, I will just write price. Price is 200. Okay, so now there's a question Anand is asking. I heard we should not use div, we should use table. Any reason? No, I think you heard wrongly. Tables are very outdated. Building your whole layout through table is not at all preferable. So use div. And yep, this is why. If you will try to create any layout by table, it will take a lot of code. Whereas div is very clean. So that's why div is also known as tableless approach. Kumar Abhishek. So main tag is not required. Main tag is required for the accessibility when you are doing the skip to main content. In this, I am not doing it. I'm saving that for the future, basically, the code we are going to do. Okay, so moving ahead for this button, now coming back to the code. I know this is a button, but the question is, a lot of folks, what they assume that this is a tag. And what they do is, they will just make an A tag here, like this, and they will just style it like a button. Now, how you will decide that it should be a tag or a button? The simple funda is, anything which is taking you to some other place, redirecting, that should be your A. But anything which is asking for an action should be button. Here there is no redirection, it is an action. When I'm clicking here, my item is getting added in the cart. Why this is important to understand? Again, because of the accessibility reason. Not just because of accessibility reason also, but also if you are going to use A instead of button or vice versa, it will show that you doesn't understand HTML tags at all. So you should know when to use A tag and when to use buttons. So that's why it's very important. So this is a wrong approach. So I will just add it here, button. And I will just copy paste it 4 times. That's it. So this is my home page kind of HTML is done. And if you will see, oh, sorry. Okay, so this is your basic HTML tag. One more thing I want to add here is I wrote alt tag here, but as of now I left it blank. Why alt tag is required? Alt tag is required because again accessibility issue for the accessibility. So always have alt tag available there. I know this is the HTML, CSS, JS session, but it's very important for you who are just starting or who already know that whatever the HTML or the code you are writing is accessible or not, is correct or not. So that's why I was telling you that I will keep telling you the accessibility thing. So alt tag is important, but there are catches behind the alt tags for the accessibility. If you are curious, please go on internet and read about it. There's one question from Shivani. So if we need to use an A tag and style it like a button, will this be fine? No, this is absolutely okay. I'm sorry. Shivani, follow-up question. If you are using the A tag, is it a redirection or is it an action? What is the functionality? Redirection. Yes, you can use A tag and style it like button. There is no issue. Here, what I was trying to tell you that this is an action. So many folks, what they do is they just make it A tag. Through JavaScript, they disable, and because everyone use JavaScript a lot nowadays, so they will just don't focus on which tag will come. What they will do is just put a tag here, style it by CSS to look like button, and through JS, they will handle the redirection. So that's why I called out that you should know the difference between both, when to use which. I'm just giving you 5 minutes. Please start writing this code, and yeah, and then we will move forward. Moving forward means we are going to make this HTML, then address, and then the last form. So in this step, we are just going to finish our HTML. Yes, I'm showing you the code. What I will do is I'm just removing this so that you can see. Okay. One more thing I want to add here, sorry, before you all will start coding, about the classes name. So in industry, there are different ways to name your classes. I can show you the popular one. Generally, what I follow is I follow the camel case. So for example, this is just one. So what I will do is, now like, let me do it here. So what I will do is product list. This is camel case. It depends upon you, but if you are working on a good big project with a big team enterprise project, it's preferable to use a naming convention, a same naming convention. Do not do like here you are writing product list and here you are writing product item. So this is not good. Always follow one coding convention. If you are just starting, I would say just go on internet and look for the most popular way of writing the CSS class name. I think it is BEM. You can use that and get in the habit of writing the class name in that way. So this is one important thing I wanted to mention. I am using camel case in this throughout exercise. So now you can start your coding. And once you are done, just write yes, or after 5 minutes, I will just move ahead and you can follow it. Bharat, you are done, good. Just let's wait for others to, few folks. Okay, many people already done. Cool. Okay, so now we are moving next. Okay. Okay. So now we need to create this product list cart details page. So now what we are going to do? So I already told you about that we should have the wrapper of every section. Now here I have my header and I have my content page. So this is very clear that this is my header, this is my content. Now what we are doing here is, one important thing you need to see is when I'm clicking add, and when I'm clicking here, no page refresh is happening. So which means I don't have any other HTML page. My whole code is in one page only and no refresh is happening. So how we can achieve that? So the way of doing that is that you should have the whole uh, these pages HTML on the same index.html. And how we can have it now. So what I'm going to do is, sorry, so now I will, just give me a minute and I will explain you what I'm doing. So here I'm going to write protect. This is my product page. Now I will copy this because if you have seen the whole UI is almost same. Only two things are getting added. Adding here these links and total cost. So what I will do here is I will keep welcome to, first I will change this details. This will remain like this and I will add my links. Now we know that these are the redirection. These links are taking you to some other page. That's why we are going to use a tag. So I will use hash here, and this is our back, and this will take to our next page address. And what we can have is we have our as of now it's 0. Okay, so if you will see, this HTML is done. Okay, so now now I'm going to talk about two things here. The first thing is difference between P headings and if I will write like this, what would be the issue? If you are going to write like this, it's fine. Again, no worries. But the best practice is always wrap your content either to P or either headings. If they are straightforward headings, then make them heading. Do not try to, for example, if in your design total count is bold, instead of doing this, wrapping it into a H5 because by default H5 is bold, what you can do is you can keep it in P, and through your CSS you can change the styling. Why this is important? The reason is again the semantic tags, and second thing is you should understand that your separation of styling and your HTML. With headings you can get the bold, but you are not doing the separation well. This is a content which is like body content, so it should come in P tag. So that's why it is in P. If you are not going to wrap this content in any tag, this is I doubt that HTML validator will give you an error. I don't know about that, but this is not a semantic way of doing the writing the HTML. So first thing is this. Again, if you have noticed, I have again wrapped everything to their respective container like this and this. If you are going to leave them loose, you are going to have the problem in reading your code and maintaining your code. So just go ahead and write this code. This is a very quick exercise, so you can do it, I'm pretty sure. Till then, let me run this and show you what is happening here. Okay, so if you will see, as of now, we don't have any styling. So everything is coming like this. Now, the one thing which I really wanted to show you is, okay. Now, for example, you need to do debugging. There's some issue came out. Now, when you will step in your debugger, you can now very clearly see that this is your whole section wrapper. Your whole website code is in this. This is my header. This is my section. In this is product, and this is going to be cart list. I haven't changed the class name. So this is how it is going to help you in reading your code in the debugger inspector. Second, it is going to help you in maintaining your code. And if you are doing the debugging, for example, if I just want to, delete this whole product section, so I can directly go and delete this whole product section, rather than if I haven't wrapped it, it is going to be very, very hard. As of now, this exercise is very small, so you might not able to see the impact, but look at any, like for example, code base of Facebook, Gmail, YouTube, go to the inspector and see how big the code base become, how many classes dynamic data get add on, and how hard it becomes, to just find one particular element. So that's why it's the best practice to wrap everything in a wrapper. Let me just change the details. Okay. Just ping on the chat if you are done with this also. Done. Cool. Okay. So now let's move to the next. Nope, Umang is doing. I'm sorry, Umang. Yes, and the reason, Anand, is because we are going to have single page kind of application. That's why. Yes, and most of the single page application do have this kind of structure, but I have seen few application that's a different funda. They create different HTML pages, but when they are doing the Ajax call or something like that, they use it altogether different approach to get those pages into their current page without doing refresh. So that's a different altogether different funda. Mostly this is the way. Okay, I am moving ahead. So the next page we have is a form. So for form, again the same thing. What I'm going to do is I'm just copy pasting this. Form will not take much time. I'm just writing form wrapper here. One thing to take care is when you are writing your class names or ID's name, you need to make sure that you are aware of that it is not a tag name, HTML tag name. Example, form, header, footer. These are already available tag name in HTML. Though when we are using these class names, we are going to put dot. But again, it's a problem in reading and maintaining your code. So generally, when I see the code of people where they are making a class dot header, I always like why you are making the class header when you already have a header tag. Why you are not using that? So whenever you are making your class name, please give a good attention that you are not using any HTML5 tag name as a class. So that's why I have put here from wrapper. Or what I can use is, I think, address would be the better name. Okay. We got one question in the chat, which I really wanted to talk about because I have seen this is a problem and a misunderstanding between testers and developers. So Anand is saying, is it good to add IDs for each tags in HTML? I am automation engineer. Sometimes I don't find. So it's hard to detect unique state elements. Anand, no, for developers, it's not a good practice to add ID for each tag. Generally, applications are already pretty heavy, which we are making nowadays, even though we are using different techniques to optimize our HTML and altogether things. But adding tag ID to every tag is not a recommended way for the developers. plus it could hit the performance of the application. Example, if you have like I don't know 5,000 line of code base, now it's on the developer. That developer has to go back and add ID everywhere. So it's not a recommended approach. I know I work with testers. They keep telling me that they need the unique element to get the tags, but we also don't do it. So I also want to understand that what would be the solution of this for the tester, for automation engineer. Yeah, Ritika. Ritika just raised hand. I don't know if you want to say something. Going for 1, 2, 3. I think by mistake. XPath will be a thing testers should use using doc. Yep. Okay. So now moving ahead. Please fill the form. Okay. Now this will remain here only. This whole thing and this will be removed. Okay, now I want a form tag. I want to wrap my whole form into this. Now the next thing is every element, every input. Okay, first let me talk about the label. Why label is important. So if you will see here, I have this name, email, address. Most of the developers or few developers which I have seen is they don't use label, they use span, sometimes P, sometimes H4. Please don't do it. There is a dedicated tag for us to label our input form elements. Always use label. Again, your HTML, if you are going to use P, H or whatever, that's not going to break your page on the browser, but you are not writing semantic HTML. If you will validate your HTML, it will give error. And the third thing is accessibility and the user experience is going to be a biggest issue. So please always use label. So label. Now coming to input. In HTML5, we have initially in HTML4 we used to have only input type text, but in HTML5 we got a lot of different. If you can see so many input tags. So please use those. These only. Do not try to just make everything text and through JS you are trying to do your validations or everything. Why? I will just tell you. So here I want name. So this is going to be text. As of now, I'm just writing this much. Now the next is email. Now what will happen if I want, let me just give it text. I want to show you one thing. And submit. From here. Okay. So this is name, this is email, and this is submit. So it basically nothing happened, but it just accepted the wrong email also. See, this is not email. Now, if I will just change it to email, now what will happen? So if I will just give like this, submit, see, please enter an email address. I haven't written any validation for this. Only because of using a correct type, this is happening. So always use correct type of inputs. It is going to take care of at least your client-side validation. On submit, if you are using JavaScript to collect your data, that's a different approach altogether. That server validation will come there, but at least initial level of validation should happen. One more thing I want to add here is telephone. Like this is telephone, and I'm writing. If I will not write correct email correct type here, what will happen is when your okay, let me show you. Sorry, cancel. So this is a telephone, which is basically number, but if you will see, I am able to write the alphabets here. Now if I will change it to tel, though it is accepting, but on the phone though it is accepting, but it will give, okay, it should give me an error here. Let me just first do this. Oh, it is okay. I don't know why it is haven't given you the error, though it should. And second thing is, when you are using this, opening this on your mobile, your mobile keypad will open by default of numbers, not of our alphabets. So that's why this telephone thing, tel thing is also important. I need to check why it isn't given the error. That I will do it. Now moving the next, which is all together. What I'm just coming back to your question. I'm just finishing this address, and you have text area. Okay, so what is this text area? So this input won't let you write longer messages, but if you want to have longer messages, at that time you use text area. We have very different properties on text area, like word limit, max limit. You want to make it resizable or not resizable. These all are available in HTML5. So you can just go and check them. The bottom line here is correct. Use the correct type with your input. Now coming to the next thing is, which I talked about, user experience. As of now, if you will see, I'm using my mouse, oh sorry, my keypad, mouse, yes. If I'm clicking on name, nothing is happening. Generally, what is the expectation? If I click on name, the related input should get selected, which is not happening here. So what we have to do? So we have to do this. I need to give for, and in the related input, I need to give the same value. Now what will happen when I click on name? See, your related input tag is coming in focus. Why this is important? As I told you, user experience. The folks who doesn't aware of user experience, whenever you are using Facebook or Instagram or any app, how easily you are able to use, that calls the user experience. And the one application which is making you very, very frustrated, which means it has very bad user experience. In websites and especially on the forms, there are few rules that how this user experience should be. And this is the one of the user experience, that on tap or on click of the label, the related input tag should get selected. And yes, it is also related to accessibility. So that's why it is important. So whenever you are writing your forms, please give that high importance. Forms are very, very important for business. Example, e-commerce application. If your forms are not accessible, not working properly, you will not able to get the orders. If you will not get the orders, it is going to directly impact your business. Now, another thing which we need to take care here is required. This is again HTML5 attribute. It actually tells the browser that this particular field is required. So what I am going to do is, as of now, let me just comment this, and name is required. And if I will not fill that, and if I will click, see, please fill out this field. And if I will just fill it, and it will let me submit it. So that's why this required is important. So these are the important thing of your application. Now Harshiku asked is, what if we use input type submit instead of the button type submit? Does it make any difference? I am not sure. I have actually used input type submit because at that time I think button was not there. So we used to use input type submit. I think I'm not sure. I need to check. For HTML5 onwards, button started having the type, and that's why it got changed. Generally, if you will look into the old website, they use input type submit. All the latest websites, code base, they use button type submit. Now, would that make any difference? Again, no difference. Both are acceptable. So there would be no issue. Bharat, shouldn't we provide break after every field? Bharat, we are going to style it. If you are talking about the BR like this, good thing you asked about it. I know the designs are looking very bad. I have seen a lot of developers who are just starting their career. They start doing like this. And after this will start happening. basically you achieve the design, but this is not a good practice. The reason is HTML is your structure. Your structure should come on the page, and CSS is for styling and controlling the everything, layout, positions, and everything. Do not try to merge both. So if you want the break, if you want space after anything, handle it by CSS rather than by HTML. Reason is, the moment your CSS is gonna, let's assume network got broke, or there's some error and your CSS is not getting load. So the goal is at least your user are able to see your whole website in the same order as it was before with CSS or JavaScript, so that they can consume the content. And the second thing is, it should be readable. Like if you will see, they know, like we know, ice cream shop is the name, then cart, welcome, these are the items, these are the card details, these are the forms. So that's why it's very important to keep your presentation and your structure different. Okay. So yes, we are not going to put any BR here. I'm removing it from here. So yeah. So this is your form. What I will do is I will make the next section also, so that you can do it both sections together. This is the smallest one. We don't need here. Also, we don't need here. Here I can just write H3. Let's say. Cool. So this is your HTML. Please take 5 minutes and write this code, and then once you are done, write yes, and we will move ahead with CSS. Yeah, Shivani, this is a good topic. So Shivani is saying, can you talk a bit about self-closing tags? In HTML5, you have tags. If you will see, like label has a closing label, uh, div has a closing div, a has a closing a, but there are few tags which doesn't require their closing tag. So they are self-closing. Example, input, image, br, hr. How does it make any difference? Yes, it does make a difference, because these are the syntax. So you should know that which syntax is correct for which one. Maximum tags in HTML5 are require the closing tag. Only if I remember, your BR, HR, input, image, these tag doesn't require any any closing tag. So just you need to remember that. If I am going to write this like this, let me see what will happen. It is going to be a, this is for email. Okay. See, it is working. It will not give you any error, but this is not a right way of doing it. So this will give you the validation error. Generally, what I do is, whenever I write a HTML, I validate it because now we have like a lot of linkers and tools available in your IDE. So it's a good practice to have it, or there are a lot of online tools which you can use for validate your HTML. That is also a good way of learning. Are you writing a good code or not? Okay, so I think everyone is done. Rajesh is requesting that complete full hands-on today by extending another half an hour if possible. I am not sure, to be honest. I'm just moving ahead. I don't want to rush. Rajesh, I mentioned you. Yeah, Umang, I'm scrolling down. Sorry. I am moving ahead on the step 3. Now what we are going to do is, let me just close everything. So we are done with step 1. What is object tag used for? Where we have used object tag, we haven't used Pratham, we haven't used object tag so far. Okay, so let me now just copy this HTML and come to step 3 and just paste it here. Okay, so now what we are going to do in this step 3. Here what we are going to do is we are just going to focus on styling. So we got our all sections done. Now we are going to start doing the styling of our page, because this is obviously not at all a nice or beautiful way. This is not how our final product should look. This is how it should be. So let's see how we will do it. Now what we will do is we will come here. I have already written this. What I will do is just to explain you better, I will just start from the clean style.css. Okay, so what happened in CSS? CSS is your styling. So whenever you want to structure your page skeleton, you use HTML. For styling, for making things beautiful, you write CSS. I know a lot of people feel that CSS is very hard, but there are strategies which you need to learn and you will be done. It is not so hard. So I hope that you will be able to pick those strategy when I am writing that CSS. Now the second thing is, by default, every browser treat HTML tag and CSS properties differently. So example, if you are writing an input tag, if you will run it on Firefox, i.e. Chrome, or on Windows and OS, you will see different styling altogether. Like for Safari Mac, you will see the input is rounded, whereas on Chrome, Mozilla, they are not. The way their notifications by default, the browser notifications are coming, those are very different. Now coming to the CSS. CSS become pretty tricky. First reason of trickiness is because every browser treat HTML tag differently. Every browser also has some their own default styles, which we call user agent styling. So let me open. If you will see that user agent style sheet. So whenever you are doing any debugging of CSS, the first rule is to understand from where the style is coming. The good thing is the browsers developer tools are doing amazing job. So like here you can see this is index. Basically this is your own style sheet. When we are going to write our CSS, I will show you that how you can do. Now this is user agent style sheet. Basically this is a Chrome styling which is coming. So this is the another thing. And today I also learned that Firefox is not showing user agent style sheet, which is weird. I don't know why, or might be Firefox is not having any, which is not possible. So yep. So the thing I'm trying to tell you is because every browser is adding their own style by default. For us as a developer, it becomes very tricky. The moment we put a tag on HTML, run on browser, we already see that all the browser is behaving differently. First thing. Second thing is the moment we start writing CSS, like for example, input type text. Here they are adding padding 1px and 2px. I am not sure how many professional folks are here, but I have worked on those projects where we used to get pixel by pixel testing. So even 1 pixel does matter. It used to be a bug for us. So now imagine when I am writing my CSS, sorry, where I'm saying padding 10px. In Chrome, the padding will become more than 10px just because Chrome is adding extra padding. So this is the one of the major issue. Developers feel that handling cross-browser CSS issues are hard. Again, no, they are not hard. There are rules, there are strategies. All we need to do is follow that. So coming back to our code, how these things are related to our code, I will just tell you. So I told you that every browser add their own styles to the tags, but how we can control it. So there are CSS, normalize.css and reset.css. So if I will search it, reset.css. See, these are the CSS which are available. They have already written it. All you need to do is just download this CSS and put in your code base, and you are good to go. For you, after that, whatever the CSS you are writing, almost it should work on all browsers same. But what I do is, I'm going to show you my way. So what I do is, I write this, and the biggest problem comes with the margin. So I just write this CSS. What it do is, this asterisk is the selector, which means that whatever the styling I'm writing in this under this asterisk, it should be it should go for every tag. It should affect every tag of my HTML page. And what I'm saying is, for every tag, make margin 0 and padding 0. That's it. So this is how I do it. But if you want to use normalize CSS or reset CSS, feel free to use it. It's your wish. You can do it. There is no right or wrong. The reason why I use this, when I started using CSS at that time, normalize and reset were not there, first thing. And second thing is, I'm pretty much into performance. So I prefer to keep my external request or different files lesser. So that's why I do it. So this is the first thing. Now, how I structure or how you should structure your CSS. So first thing is reset. Now the next thing is global. Global means whatever the global styling your application is going to have, you should have under one place. This is going to help a lot, not just you, but other folks who are going to contribute in your project. And as well as it is going to help you in debugging and maintaining your code. Example, once your project is went live, after 3 months there is a defect came. Now if you want to fix that defect, obviously you don't remember all the line of code you have written. So when you will come, if you have written the header CSS somewhere else, logo CSS somewhere else, so that is going to create a lot of issues. So it's better to have again the grouping your CSS. Now the next thing is, what I do is I go section by section. So like header is my first section, then I might write logo here. If I have nav, then I will write nav, and so on. So this is how I write it. Now this is, let's go to the global. Now what is the second thing we should do it? The second thing what we should do it is finalize the font. So these are the global settings like font family. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to pick my font family. Now by default, these are the web safe font. What is web safe font? Web safe font means that I don't need to include any font file, or if any user is using, looking at my application, they don't need to worry about does my system has that font or not. For the second point, which I said that user don't need to worry about, the reason is there are some Apple specific font like Helvetica or something. If I am mentioning Helvetica, and if in your system by default Helvetica is already installed, then you will be able to see the Helvetica font. Otherwise, you won't be able to see that Helvetica font. So that's why it's important. First thing, it's important to use the WebSafe font. But the good thing is now we are in that time where performance does matter, but a lot of optimizations are there. So you can use Google fonts, you can use font families. There are different ways to do it. But if you are not confident or not positive, you can just go with the WebSafe font. So it is not going to, I'm not going to add any font files or something. So that's why. Now the next thing is font size. So what you can do is, you can write 100%, you can write 16px, or you can do basically whatever you want to declare here. Now what is a good practice? So the first thing is, the good practice is your UX team should provide you the font size. And if they are not able to provide you, the good practice is though that make it 100% always, so that whenever any user is going to open your website and whatever their preference font size is on their system, that in that preference your site is going to come. What generally I do is 16px. So 16px is the preferable font size for most of the folks. So you can keep 16px. The only downside is the folks who have changed their preference of the fonts, for them the 16px will remain fixed. So they need to manually come on our site and do zoom in, zoom out to check. Now, one important thing which come with this is units. So we have pixels, we have EM, we have REM, we have CH, we have like lot of units. But for typography, we mainly use PX, EM, REM. PX means fixed. So if I'm writing 16px, everywhere it is going to be 16px. But if you are going to write REM or EM, it is going to change the font size based on either their root element or their parent element. Now, which one to use? Generally, now the preference is REM and EM, combination of both. But if you are starting, please at least get comfortable with PX. One more thing is, your UX designers are not going to provide you the font, the designs in EM or REM. You need to ask to them. So that is always remain a gap. So if you are going with REM or EM, please tell your designers to provide you the so these two so let's go here. You can see that this this is coming very badly. The font style CSS and hrefs resources style CSS. So now my CSS is here. If I will refresh it, still not taking, or this is how the Arial should be. Let me change the font. Let me take this. Not taking. Okay, reason is, I'm sorry. Because I'm in a wrong folder as of now. Yep. So see, the font got changed. If you will see, the spacing is also now reduced because I have used margin padding 0. Now I can write my own margin padding and spacing according to that. And color, as you can see, it is coming black because by default we have the color black. But if I will change it to red, the whole color will move to red. So if you want to do a cross application changes of CSS, you can put it in the body tag. Generally, most of the folks, what they put in the body tag, their font family and font size. So this is what it is. Okay, now let's move next to our HTML. So we have a wrapper here. So what I will do now here, I will create a section of layout. Why layout? Because now I am going to do a going to give the width to my application. So what I am going to do is, I am just making the width might be 1000 px, just randomly I am doing it. And what I am going to do is, I am going to make the background red, just to see that how it is coming. And let me close it. So see, because I gave it 1000, if you will see, this white space is coming. But we want a center aligned application. So there are different ways to do the center align. The most famous one is this margin 0 auto. So what it does is, first try to understand what is this. This is margin 0 auto means margin top is 0, left is auto, then bottom is 0 and right is 0. This is the shortcut. You need to get yourself used to of writing shorthands property of CSS. Reason is that because this is the preferable way. So you will see a lot of people use these kind of shorthands. So if I have like something, basically all the sites I have 0, so all I need to do is just write it once. These are the good practice of CSS that you should know. So that's why. Now what it is doing here now, it is saying that from top and bottom, the margin should be 0, but from left and right, it should be auto. So this is what it is doing. It is making everything horizontal center, not vertical center. Now the fun fact is, doing vertical center is the most trickiest thing in CSS. The reason is because there is not a straightforward way of doing it, like margin 0 auto thing. But now what happened is we have a new way of creating the layouts in our application, which is known as the flex. So what we have to do is display flex, and here I can write justify. Harsh, give me one. Okay, let me do one thing. Let me stop it here, and for link you can just check here. And till Pratham, for the object tag, when we will move to the JavaScript, I will pick this question there. Harsh, once you are done, just let me know. We will move ahead. Okay, thanks. Cool. Okay, so display flex, justify content center, align item center, and it should do your job. It's not doing, because this is the most tricky thing. Here I have to pass the height and all. And display flex is the one of the most interesting topic as of now, and same is the CSS grids. So I would request you that you go back, and once you are done with the CSS, you should start exploring the flex and CSS grid. So as of now, I'm leaving it to margin 0 auto, and when we will move ahead, we will start implementing flex mode. Okay, so let's go and see the color. I'm just going to pick this background color from here, which is this one, and I will remove this from wrapper, and I will just put it here, background. Yeah. Okay, so if I will go refresh, this is how it is. Okay, now the next thing is I'm going to write the code for the header. So for the header, we want the cart. Okay, Bharat, give me 1 minute. Let me finish the header and then I will explain. If you will look, we want our header to be like this, logo and this come next to each other. So how we can do it? Okay, so let me come to header. And our HTML is, we have a h1 and nav. So let me try to implement the flex here. So display flex and justify content center. Okay, before let me do one thing. Before doing anything to header, let me show you one thing, background red. So fun fact is I do a lot of debugging by doing this red color thing. It is like I can see where my sections are, so that's why I keep adding red color. Vishali, I'm coming to that also for flex. So if you will see, if the content is getting touch with the edge to edge, which is not expected. The reason is, as of now, there is only one color, body and of the wrapper. But if you will see, there are many websites which have like bodies of white color, and then there is a red color of wrapper, and there are spacing. So your content should not touch to your edge. So what we can do? So what we can do, there are two ways to achieve it. The first thing is, because we know that our whole application should have spacing. Our whole application content should not touch to the edge of our elements. So what we can do is, we can just go globally, make padding top, I will not give, 10 px. So what it will do is, just look at this space. So if you will see, the wrapper has added the 10 pegs here. I need to show you one more thing. Sorry, my bad. And let me just remove it. I have done nothing. I have just added. Yeah. So this green means this is our wrapper, and you can see the content is getting touched. Now if I will go back and add padding, now see what will happen. See, the space started coming inside the wrapper. So this is what padding do. I have seen a lot of people get confused between padding and margin. That's why I'm showing you. Now what I want, if I want to declare margin, how it is going to help. You can see this, it is getting this wrapper, this green border is getting touched to the browser. So how we can make sure that it is not getting touched? So what I will do is, I will give margin top 10 pixels. Now see, so padding whenever you want to give space inside any element, and margin when you want to give space outside the element. This is the only difference. Not the only difference, there are one more difference, but this is how you should remember. Because I wanted the space within wrapper so that my text should not touch the elements, that's why I did padding. And then I don't want my wrapper to touch my browser, that's why I gave the margin. So this is the difference of margin and padding. I'm taking a pause because there are a few questions. What does auto do? Can you explain one more time? Bharat, this is a question from Bharat. So Bharat, when I'm saying, when I'm writing auto, my browser will automatically calculate according to the width that how much space is left, and it will distribute that space. As of now, I have written auto for left and right. This is top and bottom. This is left and right. So my browser, what it will do is it will automatically calculate the space and it will distribute evenly on left and right and make my browser, make my container to come at the horizontal center. This is what auto do. Vishali, display flex. In CSS, display is very important concept. Every element has its own default display property. If you are learning HTML5, please learn about what is the behavior of the HTML with respect to display. Example, there is block level, there is inline. These are the by default properties of the HTML5 elements. Header is your block level element. Basically, display is block. Span is your inline element. How does it make difference? It makes huge difference. Example, if you are able to see this label and input tag coming next to each other, it means these are inline in nature. Means they don't have any element can come next to it. So this is the inline nature. When you are writing like here, I have written heading, H1 or nav or list button. These are coming under each other. It means they have the display block property. Now the question is, can you override this display property? Yes, you can write. You can override through CSS. So in CSS, you also get you have block, inline, and inline block. So inline block is the merger of block and inline altogether. Now, why I'm talking about this for Flex? So Vishali, before Flex and CSS Grid, we used to have only one way, two way of making the layouts. The first thing was changing the display properties, which is not recommended, like inline block and all that. The second thing is, which is the most recommended way, is using floats. But floats used to have lot of issues, cross-browser issue, maintenance and all. Now we have Flex. Flex and CSS grids, these are the two new concepts came, and these both concepts help us to create the layouts. When you start learning about Flex and CSS grid, you will start questioning that where to use which. So Flex mainly when you have the simple applications and you wanted to just create rows and column, either row or either column, you use Flex. Grids when you have the complex layout. Talking about the browser support, as of now, browser support of Flex is pretty good. For CSS grid, still some properties are catching up. Related to browser property, whenever you are using any any HTML, CSS or JS thing, and you want to know that can I use this in particular browser or not, this is a dedicated website. Can I use? You can just go here and you can search about any property. So like grid gap. So it will, sorry, yeah, it will show you. See, in IE it's not supported. As of now, Safari it's technology preview. So it will give you a beautiful summary that what is the supporting level of the elements. So this is, please use this. This is very useful. Anything else? Okay. So I think we are done for today. Let me just do one more thing and then I will open the floor for question. Okay. Now let me go back. See, what I have done here is I said display flex. Let me just go step by step. By using display flex, the first thing happened is your cart was coming under ice cream shop. Now it is coming next to it. Now what I want to do is I want the cart to go here at the right side. So let me now open my this debugger and put it here. Okay, so header. Now there's a property justify content. So just see, just focus on here that how the elements are jumping while I'm changing the properties. Okay. See, and now if you will look, space between is the one which we needed because we wanted both element to extreme direction. So this is what help you here. So you can put justify content space between. One more thing what you can do is, now if you will see, we have again the same problem. Our text is getting touched to the edge of our container, which we don't want. So does flex help here us? See, it does, but it is not so good because we have just two items here. But suppose if you don't have the two items, what it is doing right now is, it is actually dividing the space evenly for you between your items. So this is how you use the flex. As of now, what I am doing here, I'm just placing my elements by using flex. That's it, nothing more. And let me put padding here. Yep, done. Now, one more thing is, as I told you that I have worked in applications where pixel by pixel testing is very much required. So I can tell you a defect here, how the tester tests. I know we have a tester here. So they test this. If you see this ice cream shop baseline and this cart, there's a space. The cart is not aligned with ice cream shop. So this is a bug. So how to fix this bug? We used to play a lot with line heights and all, but what could be a simple solution here is this align item center. These justify content and align item center will only come in picture only when you will use display flex. If I will just go off this, remove this declaration, these properties will not work. So these two properties are related to flex only. And let me go back, align item center. So now what it is doing, align center, this is making your vertically center align your content. Cool. So this is, now let me remove this and let me just do one. Yep. So this is how we have done the header. Okay, so I would like to wrap it here as of now. I will open the floor for the questions. We will have the follow-up session where we will continue with the styling and then we will move to the JavaScript. I have question. Abhi, you message me unable to link CSS to HTML. Can you just try now? Just copy the code from here. Okay. Anand, how about one day workshop? Neha, you doing great. Anand, that is on Yash. Yash will decide. Uh, Harsh, I really like this jam. Can't this just go for one? I have to go for dinner. I'm sorry. That's why it's cool, but my internet is really bad. Oh, you can watch the recording.
Yeah,
Okay.
we will try to make the recording available. And also, as Neha mentioned, we'll plan the follow-up. Yeah, so you all will know about that soon.
Justify content and align items. So justify content and align items are related to display flex. Unless and until you will not use the property display flex, these will not do any impact. Justify content and align items, these are the most confusing because we also have align content, align self. These are also there, which I haven't used uh, in this code as of now. So how I remember is justify content means horizontal, align item means vertical. And within this, justify content, whatever the property you will pass, it will always impact the horizontal x-axis. And align items, no matter which property you are passing, value you are passing, it will impact your y-axis. In flex terminology, they use horizontal as baseline axis and vertical to as main axis. It's your way to remember the things. This is how I remember it. Now, in justify content and align items, what it does, it actually help you to align your elements, center, start, and you want space in them or you want extreme and so on. So just go back and play with it. One more thing is, which I didn't mention, I mentioned but I didn't explain and no one actually asked me, so that's why I'm asking it. Sorry, that's why I'm mentioning it. I said that flex get used when you either want to create rows or columns. In CSS, you don't have any funda of columns because everything is like row. They are coming in blocks. But there is a terminology CSS grids. Before CSS grid property, like Bootstrap used to have grids. There were a lot of grid kind of frameworks. So people started following the grids a lot. We used to use div and everything behind the scene, but through CSS we used to give the impression that they are looking as a column and all. If you want to explore that how it happened, just go and check the old Bootstrap code. They have done the same thing. But now what Flex do? Flex actually give you the power to declare from CSS you want row or column. By default, the moment you are writing display flex, it is always row. But the moment you will change it to column, it will change everything. So let me try to, yeah, so flex direction, see column. The moment I did column, now the cart is coming under it, irrespective of this justify content or align item. By default, it's row, that's why it is coming like this. So this is also very important. Another thing, why to use Firefox? The reason is the debugging of Flex is very awesome here. As you can see, it is showing me by default that this is having the Flex property on it. So when you will start doing the debugging here, you will see that, see, Flex items, they are two, H1 and nav, and it is giving you all the information. See, so when you will start doing development in Flex or CSS Grid, you will see that Firefox is doing very good job. Okay. Next thing is, next question, Shivani, I find styling buttons quite tricky. Shivani, you don't need to worry because if you will see this is button and I have styled it, so we are going to talk about it. So don't worry. How will remember all the attributes of CSS? Anand, you don't need to remember all the attribute of CSS. This is one of the biggest myth. People think that they need to, learn all the attributes. What you need to understand is you need to think like a layman person. Like for example, this is a color. Where this color is coming, this yellowish color, it is coming in background. So it is there is CSS background property? Yes, there is. So now the next thing I want to do is just check background color is there and I start using it. Now, if there's spacing between this chocolate, so this is like what? This is a text spacing. Is there any CSS property in text for text spacing, and you just go and use. And the second thing is you need to practice. Unless and until you will not practice, you will not remember things. So it's very important. Yes, there are few tricky CSS attributes or properties which don't get used too much, but at least if you will remember like this, you will reach there. Shivani, I already answered. Pratham, is this available on GitHub? Yes, whatever we have done so far, I will move it to GitHub. Yash, you have the emails of these, everyone, you can just mail them.
Yeah, sure. So everyone, I have just mentioned a check-in form. So everyone who is there, please open that form and fill up your details so that we know that you attended this session, and we can invite you for the next session, and also we can share the resources with you.
Thank you, Yash. Harsh, the whole website looked good, but the last part in CSS sheet, the moving card zero thing, I didn't get at all. Harsh, if you are talking about that, how we move this card thing here at the right, can you please acknowledge? Or if you are, yes, okay. Okay, so what I have done is, if what I use flex here, so what flex helped me here to do is, let me just do this. So when I did flex, okay, this is the default view I was getting. So first thing I did is, I did the display flex. Now what happened is, they started coming in one line, which is my design. Now the question could be, can there be another way of doing it? Yes, there are two ways of doing the same thing, but as of now, the flex is the most recommended way of doing it, because you all are learning HTML, CSS, JavaScript. That's why it's important for you to learn flex. So that's why flex is here. Now the second thing is, I wanted to do is, as per the design, the card should come here and the logo should be here. So basically the card should be at the extreme right. So for that, flex provide us justify content. So as I told you, to remember justify content, it is basically your baseline or horizontal. The way I remember, it's a horizontal. In justify content, you have like different properties, values. Like see, so many properties. So I know I wanted this space between, so I just use this. Now the third thing which I was telling you is, I want ice cream shop and cart to be aligned horizontally. As of now, if I will try to do it, like I was just saying, see, this is a space coming. So for that, again, because of flex, we have align items property, which help you in aligning your elements vertically. Now see, these both elements are coming in same baseline. So this is how we are doing the card thing. This is what it is. Does it make sense? Okay. Okay. Next. Anand, how you learn to remember all the CSS attributes? How can be good in that? For the later part, I already answered. Practice. For the first part, I am working from in CSS a lot. Luckily, I started my career when there was no frameworks. So CSS was the only option to write the code, and that's why I was able to. Today also, I prefer to use CSS over any frameworks like Tailwind, Bootstrap, and so on. The reason is because I feel that it's unnecessary to add one extra file in my code when I can write the whole code much faster. And because I'm writing my code by myself, I remember everything. With with Bootstrap and Tailwind, I feel we are not learning CSS, we are learning classes or the Bootstrap or Tailwind. And sadly, in interviews, no one asks you that in Tailwind, if you want to do this, how will you do it? They generally take your interviews on your vanilla knowledge, and that's why we are having this session. Yes, Harsh, there will be a second jam session of this. Mohit already answered. Thank you, Mohit. Yep. MDN is a pretty good resource. Yes, +1. Thank you. I think we are done. No more questions. Anand, how we should start with JavaScript? Best advice for beginner. First learn. Okay, there are two ways. First go and at least start with JavaScript theory, and second is either you just jump and start coding something, and whenever you are doing any code, try to see that why this is not working, how I have to make it work. So this is what you can do, or you can do a reverse engineering. You can look at a project of JavaScript, clone it, and try to replicate the same thing and see how they have done. So this is there are 2-3 ways of doing it.
So yeah, thanks a lot, Neha, for that great session, and I hope everyone learned something new. Drum rolls, we did it. So congratulations everyone again. And first Neha mentioned that that we both mentioned that it's a achievement in itself for being here, because it takes a lot to like it is one thing to register for something, but it's actually doing it is another. So you all have done that. Congratulations for that. And we hope you will continue learning, and join us for the next session as well. As you can see on the screen, hashtag code to success. So after this session is done, I would recommend all of you to go check out hashtag code to success on LinkedIn specifically, and see the achievements of your fellow learners, right? All of them, most of them, they started from absolute basics, and then they did something. And that is really I think that can be a good motivation factor, that you're not alone. There is a community, and you also should share your achievement with that. So after this jam is done, maybe you can share something with any picture or screenshot of this, that you attended this. And then do not just I see a lot of posts from people with just a certificate, or I attended this. They don't mention any detail, like what was the key takeaway. So mention your key takeaways. Yeah, these things which you learned something new, or maybe just the community, or maybe just the co-learning part of it, the hands-on. So yeah, what you like the most, or what you're looking forward to, what you will be doing next, write that while sharing. Hashtag code to success. Again, Harsh, thank you for sharing. Any last things you would like to add, Neha, before we wind up?
Yeah, so I hope this was helpful. The feedback is coming very positive. I'm sorry, I don't want it to rush. I already told Yash, because I worked on this whole application. I don't want to rush anything. That's why I kept it the way. Just let me know if you want me to add accessibility information while I'm coding. I'm sorry, I am working on accessibility a lot. So I am now.
That is not something to be sorry of, and I really admire like the kind of contribution everyone. That is something. Accessibility is something which not every developer really understand. And for example, you might have seen that she was using the white background while writing code. That is also accessibility, because a lot of developers, what they do when they present, they use the dark background, which is really hard to read when it comes to small screens. So it's really important to be. I really admire that, Neha. Please don't be sorry for that.
Okay, I was trying to hold my thoughts for accessibility, but by default it's now getting in my DNA. So I was like, okay, let me just tell it. I don't want anyone who is starting writing HTML, CSS, and they skip the accessibility part. This is the biggest gap. And thank you so much for staying till the end. Yeah.
Everyone, if you can turn on your camera for a second, if you can, we can click a picture, and then we will be on our ways. Yeah. It's not a mandatory requirement. If you can turn it on. I can wait for 5 seconds. And yes. Okay, so on the count of 3, you can do some gesture or anything you want to do. 3, 2, 1. Say JavaScript. Just a second, I'll take a screenshot as well. Okay, thank you so much, everyone, and have a great week ahead. Keep learning, keep coding, and yeah, all the best. Thank you.
Bye-bye.